Can the scientifically minded find God through his unmistakable signs, or their scientific mind will block them from finding him? Let's look for the signs of God in science. Good day, everyone. In one of those interviews with an atheist, one of the horsemen of evolution, the moderator asks him this question. It was very interesting to me because what he said is, what if you're wrong? What if you meet God after you die? So the guy says something like this. He says, I will have this one question that I will have to ask him. Why did he conceal himself that much? Why did he make it so that we cannot find him? I stopped at the question and the answer. Because the answer, number one, is not correct, because God did not conceal himself completely. And number two, it reveals this grave misunderstanding for the reality and the purpose of this life. The way God describes this life to us is that we're here for a test to believe in the unseen through unmistakable signs. And then when we believe, we know him, we connect to him, we accept his message, and we live under his guidance. So let's consider this story. We have a school bus. It will take 50 young kindergarten kids to school every day. We want to make sure that the bus driver is really a good driver, because you know what? The kids will not be able to tell him, you're driving dangerously. So bring this guy. We put taps and tags on the car that he drives every day. We agree with the traffic service that we will identify his plates and we will monitor his driving behavior. We do this for 1 week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 4 weeks. And now we know the reality of his driving. Because if we bring him to the school and we tell him, this is your bus driving test, please show us how are you going to drive the bus, he's going to do it in the perfect way. But he is acting. Now that we have seen his actual driving behavior, we can entrust him with the kids. But in the case of God and us, he's quite open about it. He doesn't do like what we did with the bus driver. He tells us that he's watching. But we need to believe. So he gives us the signs. And the signs cannot be that, a digital camera will pop down looking at us from the clouds. What test would there be if this is the case? There is no meaning for believing in a direct observation. You cannot tell me, I believe that you are in front of me now, because it's a fact. It makes no sense to believe in facts. It also makes no sense to believe in something that is completely concealed with no signs at all. So what are those unmistakable signs that God gives us? We will talk in this episode about 7 of them, 7 major signs. And we are going to pursue those signs in the big questions that we will look at later, starting from the question of how come there is humans? How come they have these features of intellect, language, knowledge accumulation, and the other things we talked about in the previous episode. The first of these signs is that he created us with this intrinsic, unmistakable feature of inquiry. Human beings, every human being has those questions inside him. Who created me? Why am I here? What happens after death? And this is why there is this quest, regardless from creationists or evolutionists, to find an answer to those questions. Now, regardless if the answer makes sense or not, like there is no purpose, nobody created us, and nothing happens after death, they are answers. It's a matter of justification then. The second sign, he sends messengers. Because if he's there, maybe he's there and he doesn't care. How do we know? He is outspoken about being there and about caring. He sends messengers for us to know him, to connect to him, and to know his guidance. Now, those messengers come with evidence. You can accept the evidence or deny the evidence. But he has shown very clearly through history that it is not the strength of the evidence that makes somebody believe. It is will to believe. It is the will to see. We're going to come to that later. Now, number 3 is that he intentionally does these interventions in the flow of things. He breaks causality. So, for example, he would tell you, I created life. I created the human being. And this is an intervention. It means no matter how strongly and tediously and persistently you look through 100% causality-driven approach, there will be a stop where the only explanation will be that an intervention from outside of the system occurred. And we're going to give many examples in the rest of this series. So number 3 was intervention. Number 4, challenges. In his books, in his messages that he sends with messengers, and specifically in the last one, in the Quran, he challenges the frontier of knowledge and technology and ability of the human beings. He would tell them, for example, I created life. You cannot create life. He challenged them, for example, to create a fly. He just keeps giving these challenges. He challenges the most eloquent people to compose the Quran, for example. He challenges the magicians of Pharaoh to create a snake. He challenges the Israelites to raise the dead. What those challenges represent is the frontier of knowledge and technology and ability of the human being. He says, no matter what you do, you cannot do this. And they remain as standing challenges, proving his sign. Now, did anybody break his challenges? It's a big question. When you find that his challenges are unbreakable, you know that the one who has posted those challenges is the one who designed the universe and created you. He knows the end of our ability, simply. Now, the 5th one is delivering messages about scientific facts that there is no way for anyone to know at the time of the message. So in the Quran, he would say, here's this thing, here's that thing, here's the other, and this is how it happens. And there's no way, for example, Prophet Muhammad or other prophets who delivered these things knew the most remote idea about them. But when technology evolves, when we now have the ability to explore and have tools like the electron microscope or the space telescope or this and that, we're startled, we're surprised. We wonder, how come this thing is written 1400 years ago? How come that thing is written 2000 to 3000 years ago in a scripture or scroll, depending on which book you're referring to? And these scientific facts say that those books could have never come from a human being. They're coming from somebody who created the cosmos. He knows the facts, and while talking about things, he would give this statement or that statement. They are typically very eloquent statements, so people at the time of the message will understand them in their commoner way, but scientists at some point will know what he's talking about. For example, the very neat description of embryology in the Quran. Number 6, he sets limits for knowledge. For example, he would challenge the human being that the very most intimate thing to us, our own soul, our own consciousness, is outside of our limit of knowledge. And those kind of red lines of knowledge are very important because they are things every single human being observes. We observe that we are who we are. We observe that we have character. We observe that we have will. And he says, this is your soul. I created it. It's from me. And I'm not even going to explain it to you. And I'm doing that because through it, you will know me. It is unexplainable to you as I am unexplainable to you, but it exists and you feel it. If you want to deny me, you have to deny yourself. And number 7 is that he does this unbelievable thing. It is an answer to one of the 3 questions. In his books, he identifies purpose. And through the identification of purpose of a design, you understand why the design is this way. You're free from the bondage of randomness. And then he would tell you, because this is the purpose, this is the law. For example, he gave us free will. He doesn't want us to be captives to what our ancestors have believed. There is this memory wipe for each new human baby. Unlike a cat who knows how to hunt and climb trees and do this and that just by being a cat. We don't know the slightest thing about the world. We don't even know what's a good food or not a bad food or a bad food for us. A cat knows. But then he says, the purpose is for you to have free will, to study, to understand, and then to believe. I'm giving you a chance. I'm freeing you from the burden of the previous ages. So you have the ability to make up your mind. Even if your parents would try to skew you, or education tries to indoctrinate you, you have this start from scratch that you can go back to and unlearn and learn anew. Through those 7 major signs, we will be able to explain what materialism fails miserably to explain. A scientific-minded person will be able to answer the 3 questions through finding God, by understanding the way he tells us he's here, by pondering and marveling on the way he integratedly designed the cosmos, life, human being, and put the law and guidance so that all those components will make us live a harmonious life, happy now, and extremely happy when we meet him in heaven. Join our trip to happiness, knowledge, and connection to God, and we're going to ask and then answer all the important questions. God willing. Peace and happiness to you.